There is a number that appears in the formula for your wall outlet voltage. The same number appears in the formula for the bandwidth of every audio filter ever designed. The same number appears in the efficiency curve of every transformer ever built. The same number appears in the power triangle that every electrical engineer draws when calculating reactive power. Nobody chose this number. No committee decided to use it. No engineer put it there deliberately. The number forced itself into all of these completely different formulas through mathematics alone. The number is 0.707, and in this video we are going to derive exactly how this number enters each formula from first principles. Not just where it appears, but the precise mathematical mechanism that makes it unavoidable every single time. By the end of this video you will see that 0.707 was not a choice. It was an inevitability. Let us begin. To understand where 0.707 comes from, we must first understand the problem that forced engineers to look for it in the first place. When the first AC power systems were built in the 1880s, engineers faced an immediately practical problem. They needed to answer one simple question. How much heating power does an AC supply deliver to a resistive load like a heater or a light bulb? This was not a theoretical question. It was a commercial question. How much electricity is a customer using? How do you write a number on a voltmeter that means something real? With DC, the answer is simple. Connect a 12-volt DC battery to a 1-ohm resistor. Current equals 12 amperes. Power equals 12 multiplied by 12 multiplied by 1, which equals 144 watts. Simple and constant. But a C voltage is a sine wave. It starts at 0. It rises to its peak. It falls back to 0. It goes negative. It returns to 0. At 0 volts, the power delivered is 0. At peak voltage, the power is maximum. The power is changing every fraction of a second. So what single number do you write on the voltmeter to represent this continuously changing supply? The obvious answer most people suggest is to use the average value of the sine wave. But the average of a full sine wave cycle is exactly 0. The positive half cancels the negative half perfectly. An average of 0 is useless as a voltage measurement. Engineers needed a smarter approach. They needed a way to measure what the AC voltage actually does, which is to deliver heating power and express it as a single equivalent number. The method they found is called the root mean square. And the step-by-step process of calculating it is exactly where 0.707 comes from. Let us derive it now. Here is the key insight that engineers used. Even though a C voltage averages to 0, the power it delivers never averages to 0. Power delivered to a resistor equals voltage squared divided by resistance. When you square the voltage, the negative half of the sine wave becomes positive, because a negative number squared is always positive. For this reason, the power is always positive, regardless of whether the voltage is positive or negative at that instant. The power delivered by AC is always flowing in one direction, even though the voltage reverses. This gives engineers a way forward. Instead of averaging the voltage directly, which gives 0, they decided to average the power. And since power is proportional to voltage squared, that is why they average the voltage squared. The average of the squared voltage over one full cycle gives a meaningful positive number. Then to get back to a voltage unit, they take the square root of that average. Root of the mean of the squared values, root mean square, RMS. Now let us do the mathematics and watch 0.707 appear. The AC voltage at any instant equals the peak voltage multiplied by the sine of omega t, written as V equals V peak multiplied by the sine of omega t. Squaring this gives V squared equals V peak squared multiplied by sine squared of omega t. Now we need the average of sine squared over a complete cycle. This is the critical step. The average of sine squared over a full cycle is exactly 1/2 always. Because this is a mathematical property of the sine function. The sine wave spends equal time above and below the halfway line on its squared version. The average of the squared sine wave over any complete cycle is exactly 0.5. In such a condition, the mean of V squared equals V peak squared multiplied by 1/2. Now take the square root to get the RMS voltage. RMS voltage equals the square root of V peak squared multiplied by 1/2. This equals V peak multiplied by the square root of 1/2. The square root of 1/2 equals 0.7071067. This is where 0.707 comes from in RMS voltage. It was not chosen. It emerged directly from the fact that the average of sine squared over a complete cycle is exactly 1/2. And the square root of 1/2 is 0.707. For a 120-volt RMS supply, V peak equals 120 divided by 0.707, which equals 169.7 volts. Your wall outlet is swinging between positive 170 volts and negative 170 volts every 1/60th of a second. The 120 volts on the label is the RMS equivalent, the DC voltage, that would deliver the same heating power. And the specific number 0.707 is the square root of the average of the squared sine function. Not chosen, but derived. Now let us go to a completely different place in electrical engineering and watch 0.707 arrive through a completely different door. Every filter, a low-pass filter, a high-pass filter, or a band-pass filter, passes some frequencies and blocks others. Engineers need a precise way to define where a filter stops being useful. The standard definition worldwide is this. The filter is useful up to the frequency, where the output power drops to exactly half the input power. This is called the half power point, or the -3 decibel point. This is the definition of bandwidth used in every datasheet, every communication standard, and every audio specification ever written. Now here is where 0.707 enters. And it enters through a different mechanism than it did in RMS. Power in an electrical circuit is proportional to voltage squared. This is always true. P equals V squared, divided by R. If output power drops to half the input power, then output V squared drops to half of input V squared. In other words, V out squared equals 0.5 multiplied by V in squared. Taking the square root of both sides gives V out equals the square root of 0.5 multiplied by V in. The square root of 0.5 is 0.707. In such a condition, at the half power point the output voltage is always exactly 0.707 times the input voltage. Not approximately, exactly. This is not a measurement. It is a mathematical consequence of the definition of half power, combined with the fact that power scales with voltage squared. The mechanism here is different from RMS because in RMS the 0.707 came from averaging sine squared over time. But in filter bandwidth, the 0.707 comes from the relationship between voltage and power at the half power condition. But both arrive at the same number because both involve taking the square root of 1/2. In RMS, it was the square root of the time average of sine squared. In filter bandwidth, it is the square root of the power ratio at the half power point. The mathematical operation is the square root of 1/2 both times. The physical situation is different. The number is the same. Now we go to transformer efficiency. And 0.707 appears here through yet another completely different mechanism. This time it has nothing to do with sine waves and nothing to do with power ratios at a boundary condition. It comes from minimizing a sum of two quantities where one is constant and one varies with the square of the load. Every transformer has two types of losses. Core losses, which are fixed at all loads and call them P-core, and copper losses, which increase with the square of the load current and call them P-copper multiplied by X squared, where X is the fraction of full load. At full load, X equals 1 and copper losses equal their rated value P-copper. At half load, X equals 0.5 and copper losses equal P-copper multiplied by 0.25. The squared relationship comes from the fact that heat in a conductor equals current squared multiplied by resistance, and transformer current scales linearly with load. Total losses equal P-core plus P-copper multiplied by X squared. If you apply calculus to maximize this efficiency equation, the mathematics yields a remarkably clean rule. Maximum efficiency occurs at the exact load level where the fixed core losses perfectly equal the variable copper losses. Let us solve for that point now. Setting P-core equal to P-copper multiplied by X squared, and solving for X, gives X squared equals P-core divided by P-copper. Therefore X equals the square root of P-core divided by P-copper. For a typical well-designed distribution transformer, the core losses are approximately half the full load copper losses. P-core equals 0.5 times P-copper. Substituting gives X equals the square root of 0.5, which equals 0.707, so maximum efficiency occurs at 70.7% of full load. Not because anyone chose this number, but because the loss minimization mathematics for a system where one loss is constant and another scales with current squared, produces the square root of the loss ratio. And when that ratio is 1/2, the square root is always 0.707. 3 appearances of 0.707 now. 3 completely different physical mechanisms. RMS used the time average of the squared sine function. Filter bandwidth used the voltage at the half power condition. Transformer efficiency used the load fraction that minimizes the ratio of fixed to squared variable losses. All 3 produced the square root of 1/2. All 3 produced 0.707. The final appearance of 0.707 is in the power triangle. And this one is the most geometrically beautiful of all. Power factor equals the cosine of the phase angle between voltage and current. Real power equals apparent power multiplied by cosine of the phase angle. Reactive power equals apparent power multiplied by sine of the phase angle. The ratio of reactive power to real power equals sine divided by cosine, which equals the tangent of the phase angle. Now the question is this. At what power factor are real power and reactive power exactly equal? Setting real power equal to reactive power means apparent power times cosine theta equals apparent power times sine theta. Dividing both sides by apparent power gives cosine theta equals sine theta. This equation is true at exactly one angle between 0 and 90 degrees. That angle is 45 degrees. Cosine of 45 degrees equals sine of 45 degrees equals 0.707. For this reason, at a power factor of 0.707, the real and reactive components of power are exactly equal. The power triangle at this point is a perfect right isosceles triangle. The 2 legs, real power and reactive power, are equal. The hypotenuse, apparent power, is root 2 times either leg. This is not where 0.707 was placed. It is where the geometry of the power triangle forced it. The power factor that makes real power equal reactive power must satisfy cosine theta equals sine theta. That equation has exactly one solution between 0 and 90 degrees. The solution is theta equals 45 degrees. And cosine of 45 degrees equals 0.707, the number arrived through trigonometric necessity. Let us close by answering the question this video asked at the beginning. Why does 0.707 appear in every electrical formula? And the answer is not because it is 1 divided by root 2. That is what it is. The answer is about how it gets into each formula. In RMS voltage, 0.707 enters through the time average of the squared sine wave. The sine wave is squared to make power always positive. The average of sine squared over a complete cycle is exactly 1/2. This is a geometric property of the sine function. Taking the square root of this average to get back to voltage units produces the square root of 1/2, which is 0.707. The sine wave forced it in through the squaring and averaging operation. In filter bandwidth, 0.707 enters through the half power definition. Power is proportional to voltage squared. Half power means half of voltage squared. Taking the square root to find the voltage ratio gives the square root of 1/2, which is 0.707. The relationship between power and the square of voltage forced it in. In transformer efficiency, 0.707 enters through loss optimization. One loss is fixed. One loss scales with the square of the load. Maximum efficiency occurs when they are equal. Solving for the load fraction gives the square root of the fixed loss divided by the variable loss. When that ratio is 1/2, the result is 0.707. The mathematics of minimizing a fixed plus squared variable quantity forced it in. In the power triangle, 0.707 enters through trigonometry. Real power equals reactive power only, when cosine theta equals sine theta. This has one solution between 0 and 90 degrees. The solution is 45 degrees. Cosine of 45 is 0.707. The geometry of equal sides in a right triangle forced it in. 4 completely different physical situations. 4 completely different mathematical mechanisms. The same number every time. And in every case the mechanism is some variation of the same deep mathematical truth. If you are curious to learn why things are the way they are, subscribe to Zenthal Code and keep discovering.